Hi, Reading Symphony Orchestra community. I'm here with Brent Havens today. Thank you so much for joining us. He's the arranger and conductor of Windborne's production of the music of Queen, a rock symphony, among many others, right, Brent? And we're just
right, yeah, exactly.
To have you here today, and we're just going to ask you a couple questions and have a good chat. So
sure, thanks for having me, Nicole.
But so you have like a very rich background in the entertainment industry, and I think our community would love to kind of hear all about that.
I started Windborne in 1990 doing productions for television and movies and things like that. So the company's been around a long time, and then we kind of pivoted. Well, not pivoted. We still do some of that, but the opportunity came along later to do some of these types of shows, and I thought, well, we should start trying to marry orchestras with rock groups and do some of this classic rock, because it's so rich in harmonies and melodies, and it just fits so well. I mean, look at Queen. They used strings on some of their pieces, and it's just bohemian, operatic, that whole opera section that works so well with with an orchestra. So getting a chance to write that material was terrific. So it just melded together really well.
Yeah, very. I can see how Queen definitely flows. How about some of the other rock bands that you guys do? I know you do Led Zeppelin, The Who. What is that?
Pink Floyd, and
to Pink Floyd, to kind of pull that into a symphony orchestra.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a huge challenge. It's more about, what do I want to do? What direction do I want to take this? And a lot of people ask me, why don't you do your own interpretation of the music of Led Zeppelin or the music of the Stones or something? And my thinking was, this is such a new thing, marrying the two entities, rock music and a classical orchestra, that I wanted the people to know the instant the first couple of notes are played what the song is. Because I've heard some interpretations of some classic rock and even pop, and it took me a minute and a half before I realized, oh, that's what that song is, where I really felt like I didn't want to mess with the music that was already terrific.
Awesome. So let's circle back to Windborne and kind of how the evolution of the business. I'd love to kind of hear, working in television and some of the other things that you're doing and how you transitioned to symphony orchestras. I think that would be really great for our audience to understand.
Yeah, I was doing, excuse me, I was doing a lot of television work and some film work as well. And the orchestras, I was using orchestras in the studio all the time. So I was familiar with being in front of them and how they work. Not so much the orchestra itself, but the musicians and how they worked. And, I knew what they expected. I knew what they expected to see on their pages. So a local promoter and there was an executive director who had gotten together here locally, and I'm in Virginia, by the way. And
we're in Pennsylvania, so you're close. Yeah, that's great.
Not too far from you. So they had come to me and said, hey, what do you think about doing the music of Led Zeppelin with an orchestra? And initially their idea was just the orchestra. And I thought, well, it's an intriguing idea, but it seems to me that I didn't think that the people who really love the music of Led Zeppelin or Queen or any of the other groups wanted to hear necessarily just an orchestra playing, because all those iconic guitar riffs and all those things. I felt it would end up being kind of a Muzak-y version, and I really didn't think that would be something that the Zeppelin fans or Queen fans would want to hear. And I didn't think the classical community was all that familiar with Led Zeppelin. So I said, why don't we just marry the two? And, why don't let me just take this over. I'll put it together. I got my studio musician to come and work. And actually, many of them are still, a couple of them are still on the show from when we originally did it. So I got those, and I got terrific singers, and we started off, and it took off.
So what is it like conducting with local symphonies throughout the world, really?
I thought it would be a little bit different than it is, but orchestras are orchestras, and the players are just world-class players coming in and playing this material. They just sit down and read the music for the first time, and it's perfect because that's how good they are.
So do you have a favorite song that you like to perform for the music of Queen? You like to conduct, I guess, is probably the better way to say that.
There's a great thing and a bad thing about being on the podium. The bad thing is I can't see the audience. They're behind me the whole time. So I'm not getting to see the reaction, but I see the reaction of the musicians on the stage reacting to the reactions of the audience, jumping out of their seats and, having a great time. So there is that. I love watching the reaction of, the musicians in front of me reacting to the audience behind me, but I just don't get to see it. And that's kind of a bummer.
Sure.
But I can't say I have a favorite song.
Well,
Obviously.
we're really, really looking forward to spending New Year's Eve with you. Thank you for doing that. That's very generous of you and Mig and the rest of the band. So thank you. We're really looking forward.
Thank you for having us.
Reading, yeah. So
yeah,
awesome.
well, I appreciate it, and thank you for having us. And we're looking forward to it. And